And for more insights, we are joined by James M. Dorsey. He is an adjunct senior fellow at the S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies at Nanyang Technological University in Singapore. Hello, Professor. So how do you view this round of Israeli attacks on Iran and Syria?
I think we have more questions than we have answers. What we know is that this seems to have been limited to military targets, and particularly ballistic missiles. Keep in mind that ballistic missiles is really the mainstay of Iranian defense. They don't have an air force of any repute, nor do they have a navy of any repute as a result of the sanctions. But all the questions that would determine whether or not this will lead to an escalation, we don't have answers for in terms of what the targets were, what the effectiveness of the attacks were, whether there was casualties. Two things do stand out. One is it seems to have been attacks by drones or unmanned aerial vehicles. If that is the case, it's possible that these had to be launched from elsewhere, not from Israel, because of the range of those aircraft. And that raises questions whether or not other parties were involved in this, regional parties. Most of the Gulf states certainly have indicated that they do not want to be part of any escalation between Iran and Israel, as have countries like Turkey. And the second question that it raises is, or the second issue that we seem to see, is that the Iranians are trying to downplay this as part of an effort not to have this spin out of control.
Well, Mr. Dorsey, Iranian media reports on air defense operation that is underway in the center of the capital, Tehran. What's your take on this?
Well, the impression, as your correspondent in Israel suggested, was that the first wave of attacks was aimed at air defense. We saw live pictures from Tehran on the second wave, and there was significant air defense systems being operated by the Iranians. So we don't know how effective those attacks were. We also don't know whether this second wave is the end of the Israeli response, or a retaliation for the Iranian missile barrage on October 1 against Tel Aviv, or whether this is all preparation for a third or even maybe fourth phase.
Well, how do you view the conflicts in the Middle East moving forward?
I think we're on the edge of a very dangerous situation. The Iran and Israel could decide to keep this escalation or this exchange of hostilities contained. My first impression is that is what they are trying to do. But of course, these kind of things have lives of their own and could spin out of control, and you could find yourself into a full-fledged Middle East war.
Right. So what reactions can we expect from regional countries like Iraq and Turkey, and how do you view the prospects for ceasefire talks at this point?
I think what's clear is that none of the regional countries want to be involved. Not Turkey, not Iraq. You've seen the Iranian foreign minister tour the region to try and ensure that the regional countries, particularly the Gulf, would remain on the sidelines of this. You saw an unprecedented joint naval exercise between Saudi Arabia and Iran in the Gulf of Oman very recently. Clearly, that was designed to try and enhance confidence between arch rivals. So at this point, I think if you get an expansion of the war, it's going to be an expansion by default, not by design.
Okay. Thank you for your comments and analysis. James M. Dorsey, adjunct senior fellow at the S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies at Nanyang Technological University in Singapore.